The Houston Texans hang on for another one, a flawed but good enough victory yet again for the Texans as they move to 6-2 on the year and get their second ever sweep of the Indianapolis Colts in a season, the first since 2016. So much to get to from this game, from the gutsy but flawed performance to the left guard situation that the Texans are in, to the precarious wide receiver position that the Texans are in right now because they have a Stefon Diggs injury to deal with, the defensive line dominance, Devin White, Eric Murray, so many different things. Get the comments going in the comment section. Okay, Super Chats cut to the front of the line. If you got a question, I'd be happy to answer it. And we'll get to the four big takeaways. Then we'll just go through a lot of this game and this matchup. Let's start with the first big takeaway. This is a gutsy but flawed victory. You look around the National Football League, there's a lot of close games. Teams play close games, okay? And teams end up in close game situations, and teams that aren't very good or aren't as good as the Texans lose them. The Indianapolis Colts are a great example. They have only played close games this season, and they have lost half of those, and they have won half of those. The Texans have basically only played close games with an exception of a little bit here or there, and they have won most of those close games and taking care of their business. 6-2 is nothing to sneeze at, but I can't sit here and tell you this is some amazing 6-2 football team. Like, there are teams that have maybe lesser records that feel a little bit better about their team than we do about the Texans. But you look around the NFL, and you got the Baltimore Ravens going on the road, losing to the Cleveland Browns. It looked like they were dead in the water. You got a Dolphins team that's got Tua Tagovailoa coming back and feeling really good about everything, and they lose to a Cardinals team that comes into their house and punches them in the mouth. The Buccaneers looked like they had juice. The Falcons take care of them. Like, it's hard to win in the NFL. So I'm not going to sneeze at a victory here from the Texans. But there's still things, lingering things about this team that have shown up in losses, have shown up in the previous close wins that you definitely hope they can take care of or that they can coach out of this. The gutsiness from this team, it starts with the quarterback. CJ Stroud played a game that most quarterbacks in the NFL would have lost. Okay, he played a game and played well enough that most quarterbacks would have lost this game, but Stroud, with his mobility in the pocket, his ability to extend plays, see the field, even when he was off early, he had enough late to take care of business where a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't have had that ability to dig deep into the intestinal fortitude to get that done. You want to talk gutsy? How about Joe Mixon putting the team on his back yet again for another game where he played in a complete game? You think about the Colts game in week 1. You think about what he was able to do in Green Bay, New England. Now, this performance, Joe Mixon is one of the most important and impressive Texans on this roster, and without him, they would be absolutely sunk. Gutsiness as well from this defense that continued to have to stop the Colts because the offense couldn't put them away. The gutsiness was on full display. Resiliency is a hallmark of a DeMeco Ryans-led football team. We have seen that from the time he walked in the door last season and now this season. They can bounce back more often than not from stuff that goes wrong. The tough part is they still have a lot of stuff that goes wrong, particularly on offense. The pass blocking wasn't good enough yet again. Some of the decision-making from Bobby Slowick in the red zone and with some of the play calls, those were questionable and not very good. Like, there are still some of these things. You're not going to apologize for a victory, but there's still flawed elements to these victories that on any given day, you played the Colts today. Anthony Richardson's not very good. He's one of the worst quarterbacks you're going to see all year long. You play one of these other teams across the league today, you probably lose this football game. But you play the Colts. That's not a bad team. That's not a good team. And you won at home. And now on a short week, you got to go to the Jets and you got to beat them and keep pace with some of the tops and the elites there in the AFC. Super Chats go to the front of the line. We'll get to the four big takeaways. Then we'll get to as many questions as we can. We'll hit those couple of Super Chats right now. Teeman, my man Stoots, this defense is elite. AR is bad. We make him look like he's never played QB before. He was not very good. He had been sacked 4 times before this game in the time that he had played this season for the Colts. He got sacked 5 times in this game. We'll talk about the defensive line here in just a minute. A lot of times when we talk about a bad quarterback performance in a game that the Texans played, the Texans forced that guy into the bad performance. I feel like today, more so than week 1, they forced Anthony Richardson into the bad performance that he had today. So, Teeman, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. JJ Stagg wants to get in. I was more scared when Bullock was banged up than I have ever been with Ward. Rookies are a big part of this defense. Keep swarming. Again, resiliency. Jimmy Ward's not playing. You've got to play a rookie or you got to play a backup, and Eric Murray. Both those players have nice days. Henry To'oTo'o and Azeez Al-Shire aren't playing. Okay, Neville Hewitt has an okay day. You play Devin White, who you signed this week, and White told us after the game, he's like, man, I've been coming in early. I've been staying late trying to just learn the defense and figure out where I need to be, and my teammates have been super supportive and helping me out and putting me where I need to be, and hallmark of a D'Amico Ryans team is resiliency, trusting guys on the depth chart. They went to go trust a guy at the left guard spot. It didn't work out for them. So that was unfortunate. But, man, it is a fun one to talk about, but there's definitely some things that have got to get cleaned up that could be glaring issues down the road. Ken, appreciate you. Did you have a question? He says, I thought we got some bad calls our way. Appreciate the super chat there, Ken. There were some – the officiating was okay. I also feel like Will Anderson should get a hold basically every time he rushes because they just tackle him there, which is annoying. But I digress. So appreciate the super chat there, Ken. So we started with gutsy but flawed win. Let's talk about the left guard problem this team has. They can't play Kenyon Green there. They can't play Kenyon Green. He looked unplayable to start this game. He was atrocious to start this game. And they went to Jaret Patterson. Patterson's in there at left guard. Mixon scores on the play that Patterson gets hurt. He gets concussed. And instead of going to Kendrick Green, the Texans go back to Kenyon Green for some unknown reason. I can't explain why they would go to a guy that got benched instead of a guy that, when he played last year, showed them that he had a little bit of something. Now, last year, Kendrick Green, since then, has had a knee injury, and he was what he was there in training camp. And yes, if he goes down, then you don't have a backup center in case Juice Scruggs gets hurt. But I would argue you didn't have a left guard. And so as soon as Patterson's out, they put Kenyon Green back in there, and immediately he gives up pressures right there from that left guard spot. Now, he righted the ship for a moment here or there. It wasn't like he just constantly gave it up, but he gave up far too much pressure from that left guard spot. He talked to us after the game in the locker room, and he said, I didn't play well. I didn't play well enough. That's why I got benched. When Bobby Slowick talked to me on the sideline, he told me, go out there, be myself, take care of my job. And then we asked him, what do you need to do to keep that left guard spot? He says, I have to play better. I have to do my job. So Kenyon Green knows he didn't play well enough in this game. The Texans are not going to have Jaret Patterson available to them on Thursday. The concussion protocol is just not going to allow him to play. They didn't think highly enough of Kendrick Green to play him instead of Kenyon Green. And Nick Broker was inactive for this game, so I can't imagine he's an option at left guard. So they're really going to put Kenyon Green back out there against this Jets team that has a ferocious defensive front. That's a scary spot to be in for CJ Stroud, the offense. And my Christmas light theory continues to have legs. If you remove the bad bulb that is Kenyon Green, put in a bulb that works, maybe the whole string, the whole offensive line will look a little bit better. They moved the ball, got in the red zone, Mixon scores when Jaret Patterson was in there. So, it's a problem. It has been a problem for a few weeks. I don't know how Kenyon Green got the opportunity to start this game based on the performances over the past few weeks. Maybe they felt like they didn't have another option, but they clearly were ready to go to Patterson in the midst of this game after Green's poor start. My question would have been what took so long, because he's been playing poorly for a few weeks now, and the Texans have themselves a left guard problem. Andy Singh with the super chat. Andy, appreciate the super chat, appreciate the support. Any left guards out there for a trade? Sure, you could go trade for a left guard. I think the names that probably are most popular are Joel Bitonio from the Cleveland Browns and the guy who from Kansas State who used to play for the Bears and now plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Dalton Reisner is who I was thinking of. No, not Dalton Reisner. Vegas Raiders depth chart. He plays left guard for them. That's the big thing too, is like you got to find a guy that actually plays left guard. Cody Whitehair is the guy's name. Kansas State. Cody Whitehair, he's been okay. He's a veteran. He's played more football than Kenyon Green, so maybe that's a benefit. And then Joel Bitonio is really good. I mean, the Browns won today, so maybe they want to keep things together. You'd have to pry Bitonio away. But you may need to think about that if you're the Texans from a trade standpoint. The tough part about a trade is the trade can't help you in time for Thursday. So you've got Kenyon Green, you've got Kendrick Green, and you've got Nick Broker as your guard options. So those are your options right there. And let me go look at the Texans practice squad real quick off the top of my head, see if there's a guard option down there. They just got rid of one of their guards, the Hammerzite kid. Yeah, there's not a guard on the let me see here, on the practice squad. You got Scott Quessenberry at center. I mean, you're not going to play him at that spot. And look, the options at guard are play Kenyon Green, play Kendrick Green, play Nick Broker, and then the other option is play Titus Howard at left guard and play Blake Fisher at right tackle. So those are your options for Thursday. I don't know that they want to move Titus Howard to left guard for a game or two, because as soon as Patterson is healthy, I would put Patterson back in there at left guard. So if you're going to replace wholly Kenyon Green, it doesn't seem like they want to put Kendrick Green there. And it doesn't seem like they want to put Nick Broker there either. So it may be Kenyon Green against the Mean Green on Thursday, and that's a scary proposition to be in. We'll talk about Stefon Diggs here in just a second, but Tieman's got the super chat. We're going to get to his question. Eric Murray looked like prime Ed Reed on that first drive. Impressive debut from White as well. Yeah, so Eric Murray had a really nice day. I know they got crossed up a couple of times there in the secondary, allowed the big play that, Petrie ran into Kamari Lassiter, and then Petrie got on that downs one. They got downed at the one on the review. It got turned over. But Eric Murray had a nice day for what you expected him to be at the beginning of the season and what he is now. He's a starter. You expected him to be a backup. He had a nice day. Bunch of pass deflections. They challenged him early and often, and he was ready for the challenge. And Anthony Richardson's crappiness helps him out a little bit there. And then, Devin White played a lot for this team. Didn't expect him to play as much. Didn't feel like he expected to play this much, but they were blitzing him. They had him in coverage at one point. Devin White was a really fun watch, and you can sort of see okay, the wheels are turning on how to use this super athlete a couple of different ways at the linebacker spot. So White and Hansen kind of shared some of those reps at the linebacker spot, and then Neville Hewitt was in there with Azeez Al-Shire's spot. So that was interesting to see. I mean, Devin White told us in the locker room after, hey, I found out basically Friday into Saturday, the linebacker coach was, telling me, I might get some opportunities. I might get some reps here. And then they ran him out there for quite a bit, a whole lot more than I think anybody expected. So that was pretty interesting to see. We'll get to the couple more big takeaways. I want to talk about Stefon Diggs here in just a second. Quick mention for the sponsor of the video, Platinum AC and Heating. My guy Dwyane is the best in the business. Anything with your air conditioner, he can take care of. 5-star rated by the Better Business Bureau. He's a Texans fan just like you, and he's offering you a special price on year-round preventative maintenance. He comes out, he checks out your AC, make sure it's running to its best abilities. That saves you money when your AC is running as best as it can be. It's not laboring, working harder, using more energy. Dwyane can take care of you. That preventative maintenance is the perfect time of year to sign up, get you ready for the winter when you're not going to use it as much, and then get you ready right there before summer as well when you're going to use it a lot. Platinum AC and Heating. Give Dwyane, the best AC guy in the game, a call, 832-777-3683. Put it in your phone because when you need an AC guy, you need the AC guy, and that's Dwyane from Platinum AC and Heating. 832-777-3683. Jake Eubanks with the super chat. He says, shout out to Kamari Lassiter. Yeah, Lassiter, it's great to have him back. He gets in there, mixes it up from a tackling standpoint. That's something Devin White brought out and mentioned in his his scrum on Thursday was he said watching this team, they've got cornerbacks that are willing to come up and tackle. Not everybody does that. Well, Lassiter and Derek Stingley are the epitome of willing to come up and tackle and try to make a play. And Lassiter had a pass breakup. He got challenged a little bit. Did get slipped up that one time by Josh Downs, but hey, DBs aren't perfect. But Lassiter being back, that's certainly a great thing for this Texans team. You know what's not a great thing for this Texans team? Stefon Diggs. Man, that did not look good on tape. That did not look good when you go back and you watch what happened to Stefon Diggs. He planted that right leg, and then he went down. Non-contact injury. He immediately started grabbing the front of his knee, and that did not look good for Stefon Diggs. And they didn't have much going on in the passing game once Diggs was out. You know, I know Mechie had the one play across the middle on sort of the play that C.J. Stroud extended, but it looked bad for Diggs. He didn't even go to the blue tent. He went straight to the locker room. Post-game, D'Amico Ryans said they are still evaluating Stefon Diggs. I can guarantee you he's not playing on Thursday. So Thursday's wide receivers are as follows: Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, Robert Woods, and Steven Sims. Now, you've got some wide receivers on the practice squad if you want to promote somebody to help out. But those are your wide receivers no matter what for Thursday. After Thursday, you'll get Nico Collins back. So Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Hutchinson, and Mechie, and Woods, and Sims, and the practice squad players. So that's after Thursday's game. But Thursday, you're going Tank Dell, John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson as your top three wide receivers. Robert Woods is in the mix there as well. So those are your four wide receivers for Thursday. You can't get anybody traded for or brought in off the street and ready for Thursday in time. So it's going to have to be Tank Dell leading the charge with Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, and John Mechie fitting in behind him. Maybe a practice squad player, maybe Steven Sims. So those are your options at wide receiver. I'll say this about the wideout situation with Diggs. I know Nico Collins is coming back after the Jets game, ahead of the Detroit Lions game, which, by the way, my God, are they scary looking. That's going to be a really fun one on Sunday Night Football. So ahead of the Lions game, Nico Collins is going to be back. I get that. You'll have Nico Collins. You'll have Tank Dell. They should still be looking at trading for a wide receiver if Diggs is going to miss significant time or the rest of the season. They should think about trading for a wide receiver if he's going to miss extensive time or the rest of the year. Names that immediately jump to mind: Jacoby Myers in Vegas. That one doesn't excite anybody. Deontay Johnson or Adam Thielen, who are both hurt, by the way. But just because they're hurt in Carolina doesn't mean that you couldn't still trade for them. But again, they are hurt. So if you're trading for those guys, you have to keep that in mind. And then the big name that I feel like fits exactly what they would want to and need to do with him, with Tank Dell back, with Nico Collins back, is Cooper Kupp. Now, I know Sean McVay went to the podium Thursday after they beat the Vikings and said Cooper Kupp's not going anywhere. That's fine. They clearly shopped him and didn't like the offers they got prior to that game, tried to showcase him. And I still believe you could probably pry him away from the Rams. But if the Rams say no, you go back to the drawing board and start going around the league trying to find one. So you need a left guard and you need a wide receiver. You have the 2025 draft picks that you have. You have the 2026 draft picks that you have. They don't help you in 2024. And I know that this team looks flawed, and I know that this team doesn't feel like a Super Bowl contender. You still need to be ready in case things start breaking your way as an organization. Like Baltimore, I know they lost to the Browns today. I'd still tell you the Ravens are better than the Texans. I'd tell you that the Chiefs are better than the Texans. But if you're sitting here and you can't throw the ball because teams take away Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and you can't get enough out of Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie, and all of a sudden Lamar Jackson goes down for the season in week 14, then you move up the pecking order. Like, you've got to give yourself the best chance in 2024 when you are playing as well as the Texans are. The Chiefs went and made a trade. The Bills went and made a trade. I got to imagine if the Ravens feel like they need something, they'll make a move. It's not a keeping up with the Joneses. They need these things. They need a new left guard. They may need wide receiver help. Now, obviously, if this is good news for Diggs, it's only a short absence, 1 or 2 or 3 games, you could probably live with it. But if he's got a month plus or a season-long injury, I go try to make a trade for a wide receiver and try to improve the overall talent of that wide receiver room. Patty with a good question. She asked, when does Nico Collins return? After the Jets game is the first game that he can return. I believe he will return during that week leading up to the Detroit Lions. I must Pandaline, a very, very loyal viewer of the channel. She says hit the like button and gives the thumbs up. Appreciate that. JB, thank you for the super chat. He asks, can we start Brandon Hollum or Xavier Su'a-Filo at left guard? My God, I'd give Xavier Su'a-Filo a look at this point. It's not been good from Kenyon Green. Now, I appreciate him coming to his locker and taking accountability. I didn't play well enough. I got benched because I didn't play well enough, and I got to play better. That's great. I just don't know if he's capable of playing better. And it felt like things started to fold in on itself in this game. As he got bad, he just kept getting worse. It's not like he Olayed one play and then was really, really good, and then Olayed another one later. Like, it was constant. It was play after play after play. Pressure was coming from that left guard spot. So that's something that is not fixable. It feels like. It just feels like he is not the level of player that they can survive with at left guard. It just doesn't feel that way. All right. Appreciate everybody watching the live stream. Why not play Kendrick Green then? Baffling decision. Baffling decision to put Kenyon back in instead of give Kendrick Green the opportunity. And I got to tell you, he was pissed on the sidelines. His body language, his mood, his mentality. Damian Pierce came over and talked to him at one point when he was on the exercise cycle, kind of warming up. He just kept shaking his head. He did not look happy to be sitting on the bench when Kenyon Green got the opportunity to go back in there and play more after he had already been benched in that game. Now, it may be as simple as the Texans feel really good about Jarrett Patterson as soon as he gets back from his concussion. Well, is he going to miss 1 game? Is he going to miss 2 games? How long is Jarrett Patterson going to be out with the concussion? Henry To'o just missed 2 games with a concussion. He should be back against the Jets. But you never know how the concussion protocol goes. So, what if Patterson's not an option again for another 3 or 4 weeks because of concussion protocol for an offensive lineman? What if he can't play? Then you're doing Kenyon Green and the Kendrick Green. Like, I just don't know why Kendrick Green didn't get an opportunity. I don't know why they didn't go to him again or go to him at left guard when Patterson got hurt. The only thing I can think of, the only explanation I can think of is they didn't want to play Kendrick Green because he's the backup center once Patterson is hurt. So if Kendrick Green gets hurt playing left guard and then Scruggs gets hurt playing center, then you don't have a center and you don't have anybody to snap the football. That's the only thing I can think of. But if that was the reason, it clearly wasn't good enough for Kendrick Green. He believed he should have been in there. And it's sort of a too many ifs to override and overcome the situation that they were in, which was leaking pressure from that left guard spot. And I don't know, the poor play at left guard makes Scruggs look worse. Like Scruggs looked bad a couple of times in this game. And, Shaq Mason had a hiccup here and there, but the left guard leakiness spreads and hurts the rest of that offensive line. I just don't know how they can go with Kenyon Green again. And let me tell you, this Jets defensive front is rabid and nasty and scary, and they will put it on Kenyon Green, and the Texans will be in a very, very tough situation. Again, Pandaline says, I'd take that as an excuse. That is the only thing I can think of is, hey, if we play Kendrick Green and he gets hurt, then we don't have a backup center for Juice Scruggs if he gets hurt. But that's two big ifs. You know what happens if somebody gets hurt and they're the quarterback? You're screwed. Who cares who the center or the left guard is if CJ Stroud gets hurt? So, and overall, and even Kenyon Green even said this as he was asked about his performance. He was then asked about the offensive line as a whole. Still not good enough. CJ Stroud was getting pressured at a 70% rate at one point in this game. It's still not good enough from the offensive line, from Laramie to Titus, Shaq, and Juice, including Kenyon Green. It's still not good enough from this offensive line. Was it slightly better than last week? Yeah. Last week was one of the worst performances of the season, pass blocking wise. So it was slightly better than last week. That's not the bar you need to clear. That's not the bar you need to clear. So, man, it is that left guard spot. It just, I do wonder, ruin is probably too aggressive of a word, but it severely limits what the Texans can do with their offensive line and with their pass blocking when Kenyon Green is in there. Severely limits what they can do. Patrick Ding with a very funny comment. Dare Agumbawale can be the emergency center. Who knows what Dare can do? I mean, we didn't know he could kick last year, and he ended up as the emergency kicker. Quinnen Williams on Kenyon Green from Jalen Johnson. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. That's going to be a swim move and eat CJ. That's what Quinnen Williams is going to do. Kenyon's a liability to CJ's health. Absolutely. CJ took some big shots, man. Thorn Jagger, win is a win. And then he gives the H's up. Yeah, win is a win. But, it very easily could have been a loss. You think Kenyon can switch to center? I wouldn't put him out there. He has a hard enough time blocking guys when he doesn't have to snap the football. Adding that to his routine is not going to make him better. Is Nick Broker injured? Nick Broker's healthy, but they didn't have him active. They clearly thought less of Nick Broker than they did. They thought less of Nick Broker than Kendrick Green, and they wouldn't even put Kendrick Green in the game. So I don't know that Broker is an option there at left guard. Does Aaron Rodgers retire before Thursday? No, but I very much believe, and I've said this on the SNL stream with Landry Locker, which, by the way, will be live tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. On the YouTube channels, The Locker Room, and right here on my channel, talking about this game, breaking it down, getting ready for the Jets, quick turnaround, quick turnover. I do believe Aaron Rodgers will retire before the season is over. I thought Patterson was the backup center. Why didn't Green go in for Green first? Glenn, I thought the same thing. So I was surprised to see Patterson get the nod at left guard because I thought that Kendrick Green was the backup left guard. And Patterson did not practice much in training camp at guard. He practiced at center primarily. So it was surprising to see Patterson get the nod there at left guard when he has not practiced, in training camp. He didn't practice that much at left guard. This win is not good enough. We need to win by more, says John Ryan. Look, you don't get any bonus points. Points and point differential, that stuff doesn't matter. The win matters, but the worry after the win, heading into the next game and the next game and the next game, that's where you start to really think about this Texans team and how precarious of a position they could find themselves in. Sean says, I wouldn't trust Kenyon Green to deliver my DoorDash order. Robert Guerrero says, hey, Robert. Any chance Caserio trades for a guard? I would look at the market. If I was Nick Caserio and try to find somebody. The top name for me, Joel Bitonio from the Cleveland Browns. He was selected a couple picks after Xavier Su'a-Filo in the 2014 NFL draft. He plays for Cleveland. They can afford the contract this year. Gets a little iffy with the contract next year, but Bitonio would be the top guy. Cody Whitehair would be the guy after that. We live. P Nasty, appreciate you jumping in. Stoots in for Green. I did not back up well when I played one spring of football. So I played one spring of football. I didn't back up well. So offensive line, one for me. I couldn't pass block. I was a defensive lineman. Again, and I played one spring. So, I was a wrestler in high school. John volunteers. I think we're all confused on the O-line. The tough part is you can't even go K Green because they're both K Green. You can't even go K-E Green because they're both K-E Green. You can't even go K-E-N Green because they're both K-E-N Green. So you got to go with the full name. Kenyon Green, Kendrick Green, when you're trying to decipher between the two. I don't know why Kendrick Green didn't get the opportunity when Kenyon Green had already been benched. Couple of super chats. Uriel, appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you for the support of the channel. Thank you. BG, how about the crowd today, though? Fans showed up today. Yeah, they got loud a couple of different times, forced a false start on the Colts a couple times there. Quentin Nelson got going a little early a couple times. So good job, BG. Appreciate the super chat there from you. Appreciate the support. You're a very loyal viewer. Recognize you. Nick Caserio, show us some of this GM magic this week. Yeah, he's got the little mini buy to pay attention. So most teams have one game left before the trade deadline. So the Texans will play Thursday. Then they can watch everything on Sunday and Monday. And if they want to make a deal Monday during the day or Tuesday during the day, they can go and do that. The trade deadline Tuesday. Election day, trade deadline day. Okay. Folks will be checking poll results. I'll be checking Ian Rappaport's Twitter. I'll be checking Ian Rappaport's Twitter to see if the Texans made a move. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Somebody wants to do the call-in, so we'll get that lined up here. If you want to get in live, here is the link. Yeah, we'll take some viewers. We'll take some video call-ins or audio call-ins if you want to get in there. Let me make sure my computer set up for all of this. So appreciate everybody for jumping in with us. That pinned message will get you in live if you want to get in live. And I'll put the headphones on so I can hear you when you get in here. Ashton says, really need to figure out our offense. We have too much talent. Yeah, look, there's enough to be moving the ball on a more consistent basis with this offense. I hated 3rd and 2. Bobby Slowick throws the damn ball sideways on a screen to John Mechie. And I hated that. Mixon had just ripped off a 6-yard run, put it in Joe Mixon's belly, and let him get you the first down. Live or die by the best player on offense right now, which is Joe Mixon. Okay? Live or die by Joe Mixon on 3rd and 2. Slowick tried that toss. I mean, dude, just hand it off to Joe Mixon. What are we doing? I mean, that CJ didn't nail the toss. It's like CJ messed up the toss. That wasn't good enough. You've got to execute in that very critical moment. But, there were some moments where I just didn't love what Slowick was putting together. There were some moments where I really liked what Slowick was putting together. He ran that crappy reverse on 2nd down where Diggs got tackled. That one good. So, again, consistency from Bobby Slowick would go a long way. Would go a long way for this Texans team fixing some things on offense. Tiemann wants to weigh in. What you got for us, man?
I just have to be 6-2 to be honest. I don't know how this team is 6-2 to be honest. I mean, they're 6-2, so I can't complain too much. But it's like I think, like you said today, I think if Joe Flacco started that game, I think the Texans lose. So I think the
I
Colts
was
would have.
scared to death Flacco was going to come in.
Yeah, as was at halftime. I was like, oh no, like okay, yeah. All that aside, why did the Texans choose to receive first? Because like it, you always defer because then you can control the clock at the end there. Like we were lucky that we got that interception at the end there, but like, why did we elect to receive?
I liked the choice to receive. I wish more teams would do that. You've got you know the defensive unit's good. You need to instill some confidence in the offense right off the bat. So I liked the choice to receive.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's fair. And I think Pierce should be the kick return. I mean, he's had what like three returns this year, and they've all been I think 20 plus yards.
He's the only NFL player with 2 returns of over 40 yards on kickoffs this year.
Yeah, there you go. So I think Pierce has found his use, but like, yeah, I mean, this defense like they can only carry us so much. Like, I mean, it's great to have an elite defense, but like, this has plagued the Texans in years before. Like, the JJ Watt defenses where you had a top 5 unit, then the offense couldn't get anything going. Right when you get into a playoff setting against a team like the Ravens, when you know if the defense is having a bad day and Derrick Henry's running all over you, you got to be able to, keep up with those types of teams, right? Or, if Mahomes is dotting up your secondary, you got to be able to keep up with those kinds of teams, right? And I'm worried that, when we get to a playoff game, especially on the road against like a team like Baltimore, if the defense has even a little bit of a bad day, it's going to be like a complete disaster for the Texans because like the defense needs to almost play perfect football for the offense to like looks even just okay. You know what I
They
mean?
have definitely bailed the offense's ass out of more than a few times this season already, and today's another example of it.
Yeah, and like I think Will Anderson 7.5 sacks in eight games. I mean, if he keeps this going, like defensive player of the year, maybe like underrated all pro guy, something like that, because like, he's already broken his sack record from last year when he had I think 7 in his rookie year. But yeah, no, and I think as I said, Eric Murray looked like prime Ed Reed on that. Like he was breaking up passes, and I was like, oh, who is this guy? And I saw 23. I'm like, there's no way that this is Eric Murray. But yeah, no, I think Texans have a lot to clean up. And this Thursday game, I'm kind of worried about it because
should be it's tough.
Yeah. Last year around Christmas time, the Jets were in complete turmoil with Zach Wilson, and the Texans were coming to visit. The Jets stomped us. They stomped us out that day. I think it was like 35-7. Zach Wilson had the best game of his career. Garrett Wilson beat us up. Breece Hall beat us up. That defense concussed CJ. Nico, on that turf, I think he like hurt his leg.
First play got hurt.
Yeah. So like this game, it's a bit of a like I know the Jets are bad, but like
great chance the Jets will open up a can of quit in this game though. I mean, you punch them in the mouth early and they'll open up a can of quit. That team.
Yeah, no, it's I think yeah, I don't know. I just worry that like I don't want to be a team's. I'm sick and tired of being a team's get right game. You know what I mean? Like it almost happened against the Jags. They got absolutely obliterated against the Bills, and then they come to us and they look all of a sudden they look like a competent team, and you're just like,
yep.
Oh no, like why can't we? So I don't want to be their get right game. I want to just
that won't.
That Lions game is like even without Aiden Hutchinson. Like, I mean,
Lions are scary.
Yeah, like
Lions are scary.
Two-headed monster with Gibbs and Montgomery. Amon-Ra is one of the best receivers. They barely use Laporta this season. I mean, that O-line is like I wish the Texans even had a tenth of that O-line. Like,
well, that O-line got beat up a little bit today. They were Goff was running for his life a little bit early on, so it's not the perfect O-line. It's a very good offensive line. They're probably the best in the league right now. They had a bad day today. But offensive line can have a bad day. Texans are gonna need to have a bad day on Sunday Night Football in a couple of weeks. So, it's gonna be, that's gonna be a tough one. Jets one's tough. One more thing. What do you got for us, Teeman?
Yeah, one more thing. I think it's good to be 6-2, but one thing I will say is I think it's good to be like hardened going into the playoffs because like we're winning these close games. You look at the Dolphins, like they only know one way, and that's like that cute offense. Like they'll put up 70 on you, but when it gets to like a snowy game in Kansas City, they don't have the toughness or the mental capacity to be able to keep up with the Chiefs. Where I think like with the way Nico coaches his team, I think we would like those grimy playoff games. You go to like Kansas City or Baltimore and it's cold and snowy. I think the Texans would play pretty well in those. So I think that's what's good about that.
Yep, team, and you're absolutely right about that. Appreciate you jumping in, man. Appreciate the super chats. You're always a great supporter. Good stuff. Team brings up a really good point here. And I was talking with Aaron Wilson about this from KPRC after the game. This Texans team has some grimy, muck it up ability to it, and they can win game. Like the defensive line and Joe Mixon can win you a game, and they can definitely win you a playoff game. Not to mention, you're going to face a lot of teams from here on out where you have the quarterback advantage, which is one of the most important things that you can have in an NFL game is have the better quarterback. So Mixon playing as well as he's playing, putting the whole team on his back. The defensive line, not even whole yet, because Autry's still knocking off rust and Mario Edwards is suspended. Not even whole yet on this defensive line. And you're walking into, let's see, they've got the better quarterback this Thursday. I'll tell you it's a push with how good Goff's playing right now and how tough it is for CJ to get in the rhythm with the offense. They got the better quarterback when they play Dallas, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Miami. And then Casey and Baltimore have the better QB in those. And then you got Tennessee again at the end of the season. So you're walking into most games with the better quarterback or a quarterback that is playing better than the other team's quarterback. And you've got one of the best defensive lines in football, and you've got one of the best running backs in football. That can win you games. That can win you games. That can get you enough on any given Sunday, and then certainly come playoff time as well. Zach Rose with the super chat. Appreciate you, Zach. He says, Kenyon Green is an HOA violation. Trash left out too long. That's mean, but also funny. It's mean, but also funny. Yes, mean, but also funny. All right, a couple comments I thought were good here. Let's get to them. Brian says, we need to move Howard to left guard, Fisher to right tackle if Patterson can't go Thursday. I'm not opposed to it for a one-game trial period. I hope that Patterson's back, or you get a trade in here, you got a new left guard. I don't know if Titus would be thrilled with it. He'd probably be upset, but you got to do what you got to do to help the team win. I think the Texans should have given a chance on Connor Williams to move Scruggs to left guard. No, most of us expected Scruggs to be a little bit better at center, and he clearly knows what's supposed to be happening a lot of times, but they just don't get it. They just don't get it to that level. Nosh says Mixon's going to eat on Thursday. Mixon always eats, so I'm not worried about Joe Mixon's appetite. Will Jimmy Ward play Thursday? Should have been on IR. If he doesn't play on Thursday, then yes, he should have been on IR because he would have missed 4 games at that point. H-Town forever. Man, to be honest, we got to get this offensive line fixed as soon as possible because going into the playoffs, we will be doomed. Yeah. O-line not playing good in playoff time, you'd be doomed for sure. Is CJ good? Looked like he's hurt on the defensive tackle or on the DeForest Buckner tackle. He played. Let's see what the injury report says. We'll get one tomorrow. We'll get an injury report tomorrow. Fans were big at the end of the game. Let's go get a retired future Hall of Fame lineman as a consultant. Got a name in mind, Chewy? I think you do. And Chewy says Slowick using Madden coaching suggestions to call plays. Well, that's just not true because they wouldn't call some of the crap that Slowick calls. That's just not true. P. Nasty wants to weigh in. What's up, P. Nasty?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Sounding okay? You got me okay?
Yeah, I got you good, man. Fire
awesome.
away.
Man, so for Slowick, I don't think he's getting any head coaching gigs this off cycle, right? But I don't think it's as bad as we feel like it is. I don't know. What do you think about changing the formation a little bit? I don't know why we're bunched in all the time, just trying to create the havoc. We, spread it out a little bit. Obviously, our offensive line is beyond suspect. It's almost at a point now where it's a liability. And, it's not through lack of effort. Nick and the boys, they've been throwing everything in the kitchen sink at the offensive line. It's just not working, So I don't know if it's a buy-in thing because both tackles were, they weren't on BO. They were Bill O'Brien tackles. So maybe with the Fisher pick there, but I don't feel sorry for Kenyon Green. He's got tons of money in the bank. It's just, the project hasn't worked at this point. But, it doesn't matter what the quarterback situation is. If we've got unimpeded, star linemen coming or edge rushers coming at it, we're going to have a bad day regardless. So today was the first day that I saw CJ just really not trust the pocket very much. He tried at first and he paid for it. And even when protection was there, the ball it wasn't his most accurate day. I don't want to say it was his worst day because CJ's just, man, we're so lucky to have this guy. I was in a Colts like local media room. I went in there to go troll him a little bit, but kind of felt bad for him afterwards because real as soon as I started, because they're 911 LaFar Jackson is, or Anthony Richardson's LaFar Jackson. They're calling for fire. So we're in a good spot. We're 6-2. Are we going to be a Super Bowl contender? Man, if we don't clean this O-line up, we're not. And they keep saying, oh, well, we got to get it right. We just got to figure some stuff out. We're going into week 9 here, guys. So, if win, but I don't know what in the heck they do, Cody. We're in the middle of the season here. We're going to make some moves in the offseason, of course, but seriously, what in the hell do you do? But thanks a lot, guys. I love the fan base. I love you guys. Keep the content coming.
P. Nasty, appreciate you, man. Thank you. What do you do? P. Nasty asks, what do you do? What do you need to get done there on the offensive line? We saw some of the quick passing. We saw some of the get the ball out stuff early on from CJ Stroud. And then there were some long developing plays, and then some of them, my God, the guy's right on CJ Stroud basically right away. So that, that's tough to handle. But that quick passing game's got to be going, got to be good. And there was a time, I think there was one play where Stroud held on to a little long, didn't see Robert Woods right away. He had Woods open on some of the quick stuff to get rid of it. But the quick passing game and the adaptation by this offense that they have a bad offensive line needs to continue. You've got to play like you've got a bad offensive line. If you get a good performance from them, so be it. But you've got to operate this offense like you've got a really bad offensive line. And if you do that, some quick game, getting Mixon involved, getting the ball to Mixon through the air, maybe you can survive a little bit more. And make some moves in the offseason, as P. Nasty mentioned. You can go trade for somebody. You can improve something that way if you found the right guy. It would have been nice to find out if Patterson was that guy, but a concussion takes him out. And he looked like he got shot by a sniper. He went boom, and then he was down on the ground. So he looked like he got, taken out by a sniper when he went down. So it would have been nice to find out if, he was the guy and you solidify him throughout a course of a game and then play him on Thursday against the Jets, but they're not going to get that opportunity now. They're not going to get that opportunity. So a couple of notes from this game that I want to get to. Devin White played a ton. Did not expect Devin White to play that much. Felt like they liked what Jake Hansen was able to do last week, but White gets in there and he was in coverage a little bit. He blitzed a little bit. He played just your typical linebacker a little bit. And that's a guy that as long as Henry To'o and Azeez Al-Shire are out, is seemingly going to be in the mix at the linebacker spot. You can see the athleticism. Like, he is a freaky athletic guy. And you can see the athleticism from Devin White on the field. You saw it when he ended up in coverage there down the sidelines, and they're going to use that. They're going to use that to their advantage, and could be a nice addition, and had played himself in just a handful of days into an opportunity here with this team. And he's a big physical guy. He's bigger and faster and stronger than Jake Hansen, which is probably why he was on the field so much. So good job by Devin White. Tim Settle, fantastic again as a rotational defensive lineman. Settle with another sack in this one. Told myself and Landry Locker after the game, This is the best football that he's playing of his career. He's actually, I think, going to get half of a sack for that, and I think they're going to get Devin White half a sack because they both contacted Richardson on that play. So, but Tim Settle's been a really nice player. He's kind of come on a little bit more and more and more and more and more. So he's been a nice player in that rotational defensive line opportunity. A little bit more from Nico Autry this week, and Will Anderson talked about it after the game. He gives them so many different ways to attack offensive lines. So was good to see a little bit more from Nico Autry. And as the rust gets knocked off a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more out of Nico Autry. We talked a little bit about Dameon Pierce, 2 returns at a 45-yarder, and then had a 33-yarder on the return. So good job by Dameon Pierce. He should be the kickoff return guy. That's the role for him on this team. And a couple of nice catches for the tight ends in this one. Schultz ended up with 4 catches for 52. Cade Stover added 2 for 19. You're going to need the tight ends with the Stefon Diggs injury lingering as well. Let's see here. H-Town, nice on 9 H-Town fan says Lions are going to decimate us, and then John Ryan says Lions are not that good. I think your guys are somewhere in between. You two guys. Yeah, he did just a little out of game speed shape, and he mentioned that after the game. He's got to work back into game speed shape and work back into shape. So, it's good. It's good performance for a guy that showed up this week on the team. Sean says, to my eyes, CJ was in the gun a whole lot today, and keep an eye on the rush. It helped him get rid of the ball and take less hits. Run game suffered for it, though. Yeah, and he was getting rid of the ball fast, and maybe the accuracy wasn't there initially, so you could say potentially that's because of the rush, just getting a little jittery with some of the rush. But they've got to do everything they can to mitigate that pass rush from the opposing team, and the offensive line's not going to go do it all by themselves. Gilly asked, Cody, are you and Jake going to do content together for this Thursday's game? Great question. See what I can come up with Mr. Asman. I'm actually going to go to New York, so I'll be in New York Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. I'm going to be at the game Thursday night, and we'll do SNL live from New York on Friday. Live from New York, it's Stoots and Locker. Landry's headed to Vegas that weekend, so that'll be fun. We're going to get that SNL for you Friday morning, get that. So 2 of them. Get the one tomorrow morning on Monday morning, get you one Friday morning, a nice little bookend to your week. And I would tell you, the way I feel now talking about 2 wins, okay, I believe they're going to beat the New York Football Jets. I know that the Jets hate when I call them that, but I like to call them. Tinquitiriano sightings. Yeah, he was in there blocking a little bit. Any news on Diggs? Haven't seen anything. D'Amico Ryan said after the game that he is they're still evaluating his knee injury. So Ian Rappaport is probably who, you're watching here for this to see if he's got an update. Feels like he's the type of guy that's going to get that news. So Rappaport's the guy that I'll be watching, paying attention to see if we can get that Diggs news, hopefully within the next day or so. Remy asked, Diggs done. Next up, a wide receiver 2, Mechie or Hutchinson. It's Xavier Hutchinson. That's the guy that was playing more. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit more Robert Woods as well. Woods played when Dell was out earlier this year. He played more than everybody else. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Robert Woods as well. We got to call all the bottom drillers and trade for a guard. I mean, I'm not opposed to a guard trade. Not opposed to the guard trade. Gonna have to talk your smack to Jake Asman. I mean, what's my smack? I just pull up the standings. I mean, the Jets are falling apart. Cody, am I crazy, or did we turn into a 4-3 defense today? Seemed to be 3 linebackers for most of the day. We sure did switch to the hybrid look in third down and had ARC and Ghost. Yeah, I think there were a handful of times they had 3 linebackers on there, but they had that 2 linebacker look out there most of the time, though, because Petrie doesn't come off the field. My goodness. What a day for Petrie. I know he got bumped by Lassiter and gave up the downs play down the sideline, but that was a great pass by Anthony Richardson, which doesn't happen very often. But the interception was great. He was in there on some run stuff, on Jonathan Taylor. Really good stuff from Petrie. But yeah, they had the linebackers out there a little bit. Let's see here. Where'd that call Carolina go? Oh, yeah. Call Carolina, call Cleveland, call whoever, get a guard. Patterson can replace Juice when he's off protocol. What do you replace? I mean, they didn't feel like Juice was playing bad enough to get replaced. So, Juice isn't getting benched. Kenyon Green and the issue at left guard is the most pressing situation. What's the most you'd be willing to give up for a guard, Cody? 4? A 4th? A 5th? I'm not, especially if the guy's got a contract. I'm not giving up a 3rd. Do a 5th that can turn into a 4th. Or 2 5ths or something. Going to be a crazy week. You ready, Stootsy? DeRhino, I am so ready. I'm ready. Landry Locker's ready. SNL's ready. The locker room's ready. Cody Stoots channel's ready. Houston football's ready. I want to know if all of y'all are ready. Slogan needs to scrap the toss plays and screen passes. Yeah, those were inopportune times for those plays today. Not good. Not good. Not good. BG says, you put Kendrick in and he gets hurt, you don't have a backup center, being that Patterson was confused. Concussed, I believe is what you're looking for. Yeah, that's a theory. And that's a theory that I think, is worth exploring and maybe get some confirmation on that over the next couple of days. The reverse was bad. The Stefon Diggs reverse was bad. John Ryan says, need that guard from Washington. Commanders ain't trading anything. They're winning. They ain't trading. Fisher replaced Howard at right tackle and Kendrick replaced Kenyon at left guard. I mean, they didn't feel good enough to put Kendrick Green in the game at left guard, so I don't know that they're going to do that. So, all right. Housekeeping for everybody. Where is it? You get a special price on year-round preventative maintenance from Platinum AC and Heating when you tell them you saw them here on the YouTube channel. So give my guy Dwyane a call today, 832-777-3683. You're going to get a special price for seeing the video and knowing about Platinum AC and Heating from the video. Year-round preventative maintenance gets you on the schedule. You get the special price. Make sure your AC's running as smooth and easy as it can run, okay? And when it's running well, it saves you money whenever it's running. And make sure that it's ready for the long summers. Make sure that it's ready for the winters when you don't always use it for the winterization. So Platinum AC and Heating, best in the business. 5-star rated by Better Business Bureau. 5-star rated on Google and Yelp. Dwayne's a Texans fan just like you. He watches this channel just like you do, and he wants you to call him for the best prices and the best service on any of your air conditioning needs. Call Dwyane at Platinum AC and Heating today, 832-777-3683. Put it in your phone because when you need an AC guy, you need the AC guy, and that's Dwyane at Platinum AC and Heating. Prize Picks, if you play daily fantasy, the best way to play daily fantasy is Prize Picks. Use the code STOOTS, S-T-O-O-T-S. That's Stoots, S-T-O-O-T-S. Play your first 5, get $50 instantly in the Prize Picks app or on Prize Picks on your desktop. Use the code STOOTS when you sign up. The link's in the description down below, so don't miss out on that. Obviously, Houston football has a ton of stuff for you coming up. We'll get the landlocked grades from this game here in the next couple of days. All sorts of stuff coming your way here on Houston Football, the YouTube channel. So subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, everything. Get subscribed and get the notifications so you don't miss anything as well. All right, let's see here. This Mike McCarthy last season Cowboys garbage juice. Garbage juice makes me laugh. Okay, So we'll have locker room interview stuff up on YouTube here tonight. Going to edit that as soon as we're done here. So put that together. You'll hear from Will Anderson, Tim Settle, Kenyon Green, Joe Mixon, among others. So be on the lookout for that video. I'm going to go edit that right now. So appreciate everybody watching the live. Full breakdown of the game. Back and forth, myself and Landry Locker tomorrow morning. SNL, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is where you can find it on the YouTube channels. 8 a.m., so don't miss out on it. So appreciate everybody watching. We got some fun stuff coming your way. Got some giveaways this winter / fall. Trying to get a road show together for various places all over Houston. I can say for sure, the Friday before the Lions game, we will have a SNL get-together. The Friday before the Lions game, we will have an SNL get-together. So put that on your schedule, okay? The Friday before. So I appreciate everybody watching the live, the likes, the thumbs up, the subscribes, everything. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. We end the live streams the same way each and every time. This is my hope for you. This is my charge for you as well. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. SNL live Monday morning, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We'll talk to you then. Be on the lookout for the locker room video as well, coming your way right here on YouTube on this channel. Thanks for watching, everybody.